Hey everybody, NicMakesPlays here. Today I'm going to go over my Nasus Thresh deck. I personally think this is one of the best decks in the entire expansion, and even without my personal take into it, it is the highest play rate in the entire game right now out of any deck. It is, I believe, also maybe the highest win rate right now on Ranked Ladder. So what happened for me is I started this new season with 0 LP, right? Because last season was a bunch of Twisted Fate Fizz and Aphelios, and I wasn't really having it with those. I feel like I wanted to try new streamer cards, and it was hard to rank up. So when the patch hit that nerf like TFS and Aphelios, I was like, alright, I want to do it with streamer, right? I actually went from 0 to 1,000 LP in 3 days with this deck, which is insane. I went from, lowest rank you could be 0 LP in Masters to rank 3rd in North America 3 days, just with this deck. So I have a lot to say about this deck, and let's get into it. First and foremost, I want to go over that there's tons of different ways to build this deck. I will after I go. I'm going to try to keep it brief. I know I always go pretty explanatory with my videos. I go into detail with the cards, so I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. But I want to say, when I first built this deck, not nobody, but most people weren't running Bakai Reaper, and they weren't running Bladed Caretaker. The standard build time ran no Reaper, no Caretaker. I thought that was crazy, because first off, Bladed Caretaker, I personally think it's insane. I think it's the best unit in Shadows right now. It's extremely powerful, and until you win most of the match, I'll get into it more when we get to Bladed Caretaker. But Reaper plus Caretaker gives insane aggressive openings to this deck to output huge damage, and right when I added those in the deck, my win rate just skyrocketed. So that goes to show there's a lot of different ways to play the deck. There's even cards in this current build I'm not running, and I'll go over those too. But let's get started. Alright, first 3 Radis Butcher. I run 3 and I would not run 2. I would honestly run more than 3 if I could. This is one of the best enablers in the entire deck, if not the best, in the early game. So if you're going second, you always want to have like Bakai Reaper plus Curse Keeper plus Butcher, or Bakai Reaper plus Fitting Icon plus Butcher, or Bakai Reaper plus Dune Keeper plus Butcher. You basically just want to get max damage output on turn 2, and this allows you to do that. It activates your Curse Keeper, summoning the 4/3, and also giving you a 3/2 for 0 mana, as well as you can tribute the prey for this. So this card is what I want to see most of the time. Going second, I definitely mulligan for Butcher like almost every hand, because I really, really want to see the strong turn 2 presence with Butcher. So very good. You can even play it turn 1. Certain hands I prefer on turn 1 to mulligan for Reaper, Curse Keeper, Caretaker, but certain hands you'll have a hand of like Dune Keeper, Butcher on turn 1 that's 5 damage on turn 1. So I think Butcher's insanely powerful, and I couldn't see myself running less than 3 at all. I personally want more. Next card is Rite of Calling. Kill an ally or destroy your mana gems to draw a champion. Usually you just kill an ally. This can be used to tribute Curse Keeper, you can use it on the Prey, you can use it on Sand Soldiers, whatever. But what it allows you to do is see your champions more often. I feel like in this deck, if you see your champions, then you usually just win. So that's good. Another huge perk is it allows you to get more slay triggers because you're slaying your unit. This is very important in the mirror match. In the mirror match, it's about having one of the many things in the mirror match is about having a bigger Nasus than your opponent. And this is a slay trigger that only you get. What I mean by that is that a lot of times in combat you'll trade. Let's say we both trade out as butchers with each other, like their butcher for my butcher. We both get a slay trigger, but Rite of Calling is a one-way street. Only I'm killing something, so I get +1/+1 my Nasus that I don't get, and that +1/+1 could be the difference in winning or losing the game. The third thing that's really great with this card is you get to activate your Curse Keepers and get use off the Fitting Icons, the Prey, Sand Soldier, so it's more, I guess, mostly ways to tribute the Curse Keeper, which adds consistency. Because turn 2 you play Curse Keeper, and then you use the Rite of Calling. Like, obviously Butcher's like way stronger because you get a 4/3 and a 3/2, but it's also just good to get a 4/3 on turn 2. I mean, even without the Butcher, 2 mana 4/3 is insane, so Rite of Calling allows you to just tribute this and get the 4/3 and search out the champion, as well as making your Bakai Reaper stronger. Speaking of Bakai Reaper, let's get into what I think is one of the nuttiest cards in this deck, Bakai Reaper. This card is so good. I actually can't stress how good this card is. It is like night and day when I run this card in this deck. You slay a unit, grabbing +1/+0, so you play on turn 1. Let's say turn 2 you have Curse Keeper, Butcher. The Butcher is a slay, makes it a 2/2. You put it at the very end of your attack, so if anything in combat trades, it gets slays, it gets bigger. So even if they block your units, your Bakai Reaper still gets bigger. And then it's crazy, because you're still putting huge damage, even though they blocked. Another perk is that in the mirror match, you can glimpse it and save it from Vile Feast, because it has 2 health. It easily, in most matchups, gets to 5+ attack if not answered. It forces answers. It even forces things like Hush sometimes, which is pretty insane, because they really want to save Hush against Nasus in this deck. They're against me like in the matchup. But Bakai Reaper is a force to reckon with. Easily gets a 5+ attack. They don't kill it, it can trade for huge damage. They have to block at least a 3 attack unit because of Fearsome. and it can even get Atrocity. I've had plenty of games. Granted, I played like a lot of games, but many games I've Atrocity this card for 7 per game or for 9 per game. I think that Bakari Reaper allows this deck to have insanely strong early game aggressive openings, and that sways the matchup spread of this deck a lot. For example, I think this deck's 2 hardest matchups are Trundle Lissandra and Lee Sin. It's decent versus Trundle Lissandra, but mostly talk about Lee Sin real quick. Against Lee Sin, I think this deck can't win unless it opens insanely strong aggro openings. That's how you beat Lee Sin. Is you have to overwhelm them with huge damage output they can't deal with, and hope they don't have like multiple Eye of the Dragon, Sparkle Flies, or like if they don't have Zoe plus Eye of the Dragon, that means they only have 1 blocker and you're attacking like 3 units. So the Bakari Reaper allows you to just push huge damage before Lee Sin can get on the field and go for that 1-turn kill, which is very hard to stop in this deck, even with Rite Negation. So, because he gets barrier picked himself to Lee Sin. So basically the point is, I think without this card, the deck's a lot weaker. I think this card's insane in the mirror. I think it's insane versus Lee Sin. I think it's insane versus everything. In short, I guess, sorry, I'm really passionate with this card. This card allows you to win the game on turn 3. If you open Reaper, Curse Keeper, Caretaker, you usually win on turn 3. And without running this card, you don't get to do that. And, Curse Keeper, Caretaker is still amazing, but without the Reaper, they can still come back, and the game goes on, you can just lose. But this card is cracked. Like, I can't explain how cracked it is. It's really strong. Alright, next is Doomkeeper. Pretty good. You can use the Sand Soldier generates to Tribute for Butcher, Rite of Calling, Glimpse. It's good for aggressive openings, push damage. One thing I really like this card for is the defense. I think it's insanely strong that it's a 1 and a 2/1 that gives you 2 blockers and 1 action for 1 mana. So if you have again the huge damage output, strong openings, and then it's their turn to try and push back, you just play Doomkeeper and it ruins their whole attack. So very strong, free tribute fodder, good 1-drop, great versus aggro against the blocking, great for pushing damage. Very versatile card. One of the strongest cards, if not the strongest card in Teemo, so very good. Next is Curse Keeper. Okay, this is the other. Well, this Bakari Reaper and Caretaker are the best cards in the deck. There's a lot of good cards in this deck, to be fair, but Curse Keeper. Can't block, 1/1, last breath, summon an Escape Abomination, 2 mana, 4/3. So basically, when this card dies, it summons a 4/3. This is insanely strong. This is your best damage output, is by playing this on turn 2, and then trimming the Caretaker or Butcher, and you have a 4/3, and you're just pushing huge damage. In the early game, sometimes they won't have units that can kill the 3 health. This is especially big versus Trundle Lissandra. Versus Trundle Lissandra, you want this card. You need to mulligan for this card, actually. Because the 3 health makes a huge difference, keeping it out of range of Avalanche and things like Withering Wail or Vile Feast. They have to hard commit a lot of resources to kill this in the early game. If you open Bakari Reaper plus this and Butcher on turn 2, they don't have mana for the Avalanche yet because they only have 3 mana. So you're able to push huge damage, and then it's very hard for them to deal with Escape Abomination. Even if they do clear your board, they already taking so much damage. So this card is insane. I straight up think that this is one of the cards you always want to see in your mulligans. You want to open on going first your biggest damage output for turn 3, which is again Bakari Reaper, Curse Keeper, Caretaker, and then if you're going second, you want to mulligan for your biggest damage output going second, which is Bakari Reaper, Curse Keeper, Butcher. But either way, you want to keep Curse Keeper no matter what. This card is just so strong. Basically getting a 4/3 for 2 mana and activating all your things for free tributes, like the free Caretaker tribute, the free Rite of Calling to search, stuff like that. Yeah, this card is. I could go on and on for days about how good this card is, but very insanely strong card. All right, next is Fading Icon. This card is like a weaker Curse Keeper because Curse Keeper is just so good. It's a 2 mana 3/1 when I'm summoned, summon a prey. It's a 0/1, right? Alright, the reason you run 3 is you need to max out your odds of seeing these damage outputs. So, let's say you don't open Curse Keeper. If you're going first, you can still just go Bakari Reaper, Fading Icon, Bakari Reaper, Fading Icon, Blade Caretaker, and tribute the prey. Or if you're going second, you can open Bakari Reaper, Fading Icon, and Butcher, tributing the prey. It's just 3 extra copies of Curse Keeper, essentially. Obviously, a 4/3 is better than a 3/1, but if you don't run 3 of this, you're going to very consistently not open this huge damage output. You're going to be a lot weaker. I want to stress, also, if you're running the Bakari Reaper Caretaker version, you need 3 Butcher, or you don't need 3, you should want 3 Butcher. You really do want 3 Butcher. But you need 3 Fading Icon, because if you even cut a 1 Fading Icon, you're weakening your hands a lot, considering that it's a 3-card combo, right? If you're running the Reaper, you need to have Reaper plus Curse Keeper, Fading Icon, plus Butcher, Caretaker. It's 3-card combo, right? You don't need Reaper, but Reaper is what makes it so strong, because it's like your win rate if you have the Reaper on top of that. It makes your chance of winning so much higher. So 3-card combo is, again, the Reaper, Curse Keeper, Fading Icon, Blade Caretaker, or Butcher. And Fading Icon just extra copies of Curse Keeper. But if you were to like go like 2 Fading Icon or something, like cut down the Fading Icon for some reason, then you're really lowering your odds of having the Tribute for Butcher or the Tribute for Caretaker. And the Reaper's a lot weaker if you don't get the Slay off the Fading Icon or Curse Keeper, so you need to max out 3 of each. It adds a ton of consistency to the deck and allows you to get these super strong openings, what makes the deck so powerful. Next, 3 Glimpse Beyond. Pretty straightforward. Obviously a generically amazing card, but great refuel. Kill an ally, draw 2. You can use this in response to like Vile Feast and stuff. In response to like Avalanche or Withering Wails when they try to clear your board. To refuel, dig for your Nasus, and then play Nasus or Thresh to like win the game. Unless you also convert your Prey or your Sand Soldier off Doomkeeper or your Curse Keeper into draw. It's really important in the mirror match because again, this is a Slay trigger that you get that your opponent does not get. So if they use like Vile Feast on one of your 1 health units, like Fading Icon, and then you Glimpse Beyond, you draw 2, they don't get a Spider, they don't get Drain 1, they don't get a Slay trigger, and you do, which puts you really far ahead because you stop them. It's -1 Slay trigger for them, +1 for yourself. So your Nasus is most likely going to be bigger if you do this exchange like 1 or 2 times. So very, very good. This card is obviously generically amazing. 3 Vile Feast, this card is insanely strong in the mirror and in general. Drain 1 from units, summon a Spiraling. Okay, so in the mirror, if they Caretaker and target your Butcher, then you just Vile Feast the sapling on your Butcher, and then you get a Slay trigger and they don't, and then you're way far ahead and Slay triggers and you win. So very good. Just a generically card. I mean, this card's I think the most played card in all of Shadow Isles. It's also nice how, aside from being an interactive tool, you can use to kill Zoe or Teemo or other 1 health units, like opposing Fading Icons and stuff. It also summons you Spiderling, which can also be a way to unbreak your hands. Let's say you didn't draw Fading Icon, Doomkeeper, or Curse Keeper, which you don't always, I know it's usually you do, but let's say you don't. If you have like Bakai Reaper, Vile Feast, Caretaker, and you Bakai Reaper on 1, on 2 you like Vile Feast the Fading Icon, on 3 you contribute the Spiderling for Caretaker, so it's another way to get your like 1, 2, 3 Slay combos off, or you trigger Butcher or whatever, so very generically well-rounded good card. 100 out of 3 of. It's insanely strong in the mirror match because it allows you to get Slay triggers your opponent can't get, and also deny their Vile Feast and deny their or you can in some instances use Vile Feast on yourself. They Vile Feast you to get a Slay trigger, but it's also really good at denying their Glimpse Beyonds. They Glimpse Beyond like the Prey to try and convert the Prey into like 2 draws. Then you can just Vile Feast it, and then they lose a Slay trigger. You get 1, you heal 1, and you get a Spiderling for tribute, so it's very good. All right, Bloody Caretaker. I think this is the best. Well, this and Curse Keeper are the best. I guess Butcher's good too. The Shadow Isle package is insanely powerful. That's all I want to say. This card is cracked. I think it's extremely high, this card. This card is straight up just like the absolute nut card. Alright, let's just read what it does. It's so good, it's insane. 3 mana, 2/1. Play, kill an ally, summon 2 saplings. You summon 2 of these. Alright. I can write a book, like, seriously. But I'll try to be brief. Okay, so this card allows you to do insane damage output on turn 3 by tributing Curse Keeper with Reaper on turn 1. So your Reaper, Curse Keeper, Caretaker. These hook away 2 of their blockers. So first off, by treating Curse Keeper, it's already a Slay, right? Then if these kill 2 things, it gives you free card value by killing 2 of their units if they have 2 units with 2 health or 1 health, whatever. 2 units of saplings you can kill. So you get 3 Slay triggers, 1 by tributing your own thing by Caretaker, and then 2 kills for sapling. You get 3 Slay triggers. You hook away 2 of their blockers, so that way they have nothing to block your huge damage output. Your Bakai Reaper gets +3 from this because again, 1 from the tribute from Caretaker, and then +1 each time a sapling kills something. So now you're up on board, you're up on card advantage because you just converted 1 card into 2 saplings, like 1 card into 2 kills. So you're up on board, you have the board now. You're up on card advantage because you killed their cards and that generated you cards because this, again, 2 for 1, you got 2 kills off the Caretaker. You're up in Slay triggers, so your Nasus is way bigger, so you're set for the mid game. Like your mid game is just good to go. You're up in damage by a lot. This pressures your opponent, puts it down like 12, sometimes even like 8 damage-ish. So, like how good you open. And that puts him in Atrocity range really easily. Your Bakai Reaper's already probably like 5 attack at this point, like 3, 4, 5 attack. So he's already threatening a pretty scary Atrocity range. A lot of times, they just never recover. Even if you don't do anything else the rest of the game, you just do this. They play their turn, you play whatever. Next turn you go and you attack again, and it's just GG. Like then they're still facing down a Bakai Reaper, a 4/3, a 2/1, and then whatever you play next turn. So and they're behind on board. You have more units than they do because you cleared them with the sapling. So this card is, straight in my opinion, the best unit in Shadow Isles. This card is insanely powerful. I think Bakai Reaper and Caretaker makes like 10 times stronger. I think that you need it to win certain matchups. Like I said, Lee Sin, you need the aggressive openings to beat Lee Sin. But also it just enables like the generic high roll. Like if you just open Reaper, Curse Keeper Caretaker versus any deck, besides like I guess like an Avalanche deck like Trundle Sandra, you just win. Like Zoe Diana, you can just play this and just like hook them out and go their Zoe, you just win. Like it just makes it so no matter what you queue up against, like whether it be aggro, mid range, the mirror match, like sim, whatever, you just do this combo and you just win free games. It's like otherwise you'd have to play out the games and it just goes back and forth of who wins or who loses, depending on what happens. But this card is just so insane. All right, 2 Negation, kill an ally, destroy one of your mana gems, stop all enemy fast spells, slow spells, and skills. This is very good versus Trundle Sandra to stop like mostly like their more expensive spells like Vengeance or Ruination or Withering Wail. Usually in the early game you don't use it on Avalanche unless like it's a very impactful late game Avalanche. But very strong. You can use it to deny opposing atrocities in the mirror match. I want to make a disclaimer. You usually want to destroy your mana gem. I know it sounds like you don't because killing an ally allows you to get the slay triggers and you don't lose the mana gem. But if they kill the ally you're killing for a negation, it negates it. For example, if I use this and I try and kill a prey or fading icon and they Vile Feast it, since they killed the thing I was trying to kill, it negates the whole Rite of negation. And it basically, if they kill the unit you're trying to tribute, then the negation doesn't happen and their spell goes through. So if they're tapped out, like under Vile Feast, or you know there's no card like in their regions or whatever, or for whatever mana they have that can stop the kill an ally, you'll kill the ally. But if you want most of the time you want to play it safe and just destroy your mana gems. Yeah, very good. Opposing Atrocity is good for Concerted Strike, good for Judgment, Ruination. I really like it for Trundle Sandra. If you're in a tournament, and you ban Trundle Sandra, you can actually cut this for like other cards. Like I'm not reading Black Spear, and I'll explain. Well, it's really good, but I'll explain why we get there. So yeah, very good. Just generic deny spell. Good against mostly Trundle Sandra, but good with opposing Atrocities, whatever. Alright, 3 Spirit Leech. I've tried 2, I've tried 3. This card, I've settled this card is cracked. This card is insane. You need 3. This card is absolutely amazing. So especially in this variant, we have the huge early game openings. You do run a little cards like pretty early, and then all you have to do is play 1 Spirit Leech, and you just draw 2, and you're back in the game. This is a skill that, it's not even a skill, it doesn't go in the stack, so they can't stop you. Like, so they can't like Vile Feast in response to from drawing 2, it's instant speed. You just play it, you draw 2. This card can convert your Spiding from Vile Feast, your Curse Keepers, the Sand Soldiers, your Praise into drawing 2. Gives you a Slay trigger that your opponent doesn't get, so you just get the free Slay trigger, which makes Nasus bigger. Helps you draw into Thresh, Atrocity, Nasus. If they don't have like, you know, one damage pings, you get 4 damage on top of it as well. If they do have 1 damage pings, it's fine because you drew 2 off this card, and then they had to use a card to kill it. It's very, very powerful card. I really recommend 3. The more I play this card, the more I realize just how insane it is. So I definitely would run through this card. It's absolutely amazing. 3 Thresh, very good. I've tried variants without Thresh, with like just Nasus to guarantee Rite of Calling draws Nasus, but Thresh is actually just insane in this meta. There's good counterplay like Culling Strike, but in general, 3/6 is a pretty hefty stat line. A lot of times you can do against like Trundle Sandra as you play it on your board. Then if they try to Avalanche or Withering Wail you, it levels up Thresh and you can get Nasus in your deck. In the mirror match, it's very hard to play around this card because you just play it safe, you keep it out of Black Spear range, and then anytime they slay a unit or you slay a unit, it gets bigger. Usually what I'll do is I'll have it and I'll kind of just like play normally and I'll play very passively. I don't like rush things. And then the second it's like 3/6, I can just burst for the 6 out of 6 with like the Caretakers on the end of their turn, or a Butcher, Rite of Calling, Glimpse, Fabius Shown Unit, Spirit Leech, stuff like that. The 6 health makes it very hard to kill without cards like Vengeance. So if they're in a region that doesn't have cards like Vengeance, like let's say they have like Mystic Shots and stuff, it's really hard to kill this with full health. So I think a card that can hook away a Fearsome blocker that lets you get Nasus from your deck, like your Wincon, is just so insane. And Thresh to the box is amazing this meta, especially in the mirror match to kill they play Caretaker, whatever, you can blow them all up, and then that helps level Thresh. The thing is, Nasus has Fearsome, so you can only block by units with 3 more power. So you use Thresh to like hook away their Fearsome blockers. They're very limited. A thing you can do commonly is, let's say they have like leveled up Lysandra or something, like Trundle. You just hook away their Trundle, so they're forced to block Nasus with Lysandra. And losing Lysandra is a big deal. It makes it easier to kill them. They don't have the Nexus at tough. Also in the mirror match, you can hook away like whatever blocker they wanted to throw away, and then force them to block with their Thresh, or force them to block with their Nasus if your Nasus is bigger. It's just, you get to pick basically what Nasus kills, and sometimes, if it's the only Fearsome blocker, you just hook that away, and Nasus strikes and you go for game. Very strong. 3 Atrocity. I run 3 Atrocity on ladder because I feel a lot of games come down, just all I have to do is draw Atrocity and I win. Sometimes you don't even need Nasus, because you can just get the huge early game damage output. Sometimes even if Nasus is like a 6/6 or a 7/7, it's all you'll need. But I mostly just ran this to have more on ladder. My tournament list is a bit different, but 3 Atrocity helps consistency, very good. And then, the star of the show, 3 Nasus. I have +1/+1 for each unit slayed this game. When I strike for Tempest damage, you level up. When he levels up, enemies have -1/-0, he gets Spell Shield. So Spell Shield negates the next enemy spell or skill that affect me. So yes, Hush is very good versus him. But the thing about Hush is that you have such early game damage output if you play this variant that it's not as Nasus-centric, where you don't need Nasus to win the game. You just win through huge damage output, and Nasus is another threat to deal with. And if they Hush this, they can't Hush Pekka Reaper, and they Hush Pekka Reaper, they can't Hush this, so vice versa. This deck also runs Thresh and Rite of Calling to search Nasus, so they have, let's say they run 3 Hush, right? And they Hush your Nasus. You have ways to access your Nasus more than they have access to Hush. Hush is not a searchable card, where Nasus is the Negation and Thresh. So you can just kind of grind them out. Like, okay, we wasted Hush for Nasus, they trade. Then I'll play another Nasus, do you have another Hush? If they don't, they lose, and a lot of times they won't because it's not searchable. Even times, okay, they have two Hush, they kill 2 of your Nasuses. I have the third one, because again, I have Rite of Calling and Thresh and Nasuses and stuff. It's like raw to draw. And then they don't have the third Hush, and you win. It's very easy to go for the Spell Shield. Usually you always want to go for the Spell Shield if you can get it before you go for Atrocity, because it protects it from Vengeance and Hush and stuff like that. Very insanely powerful card. This card is, just its stats alone, decks can't deal with. A lot of just have no answers. You play against aggro like Jinx Draven, you play this, no, they have no answer. There's nothing they can do, you just win for free. You play it against all kinds of stuff. Like, even you play against like Ashe, if they freeze this and then Culling Strike it, let's say they Flash Freeze and Culling Strike, they had to use 2 cards to kill 1 Nasus. Then again, you just get another one from Thresh or like Rite of Calling, whatever. Do they have another Flash Freeze plus Culling Strike? Probably not. A lot of mid-range decks, just generically, like Bilge Wire decks, can't deal with this. So this card is very insane, and I think a lot of the counters to Nasus aren't true counters like Hush and like, you know, freezes plus Culling Strike or whatever, because you can just play another Nasus, and then they're still dying to your like aggression anyway. And you can outgrind them a lot of times, you have glimpse to your Leech to Refuel, so I just feel like this card is insane. So yeah, this card is very strong. If they don't deal with it, you win. If they do deal with it, you just play another one, you win anyway. His chance spell does come up a lot, uses very often, so an ally strikes a unit. If it dies, grant ally champions ever +2/+2. You can use this to bait out Hushes sometimes, like let's say they have Zoe or something. You can use this on Zoe if he's a 10/10. Then they're forced to Hush, because if they don't, he levels up and gets Spell Shield. And then all their views get -1/-0, and then Spell Shield protects him from Hush. And you can try to Atrocity him later or whatever, or just attack and then Atrocity him. Point is, you can use this to bait things out. Against the mirror match, if you try and Siphoning Strike one of the enemy cards, they can glimpse beyond to stop the Siphoning Strike. So you can Siphoning Strike your own cards, actually, and ally strikes a unit. Guarantee yourself gets the kill. If using like a 2 health unit like Reaper, so they can't Battle Feast it, like on Pekka Reaper, because it has 2 health, Battle Feast does 1 damage. Then you get the +2/+2, you get the Nasus level up, you basically win. It's very hard for the mirror match for them to come back with level Nasus, because A, this gets +2/+2, and the regular slay, so it's +2/+3 to Nasus. Then their Nasus has -1/-0 / all the rest of their enemies. Makes it much harder to block the Fearstones in general, so this card is very good. It's just removal. It's like a Surge Strike put into the deck, so it's pretty good. And it buffs Thresh to be, I think, a 5/8, so very good. Alright, let's go to cards I'm not currently running. I'll have you guys know I ran every variant under the sun in this deck. I just want a disclaimer, it's very hard to fit everything. If you're wondering, like, oh, why don't you run this card, why don't you run this card, it's probably because I think these cards are more important, and I can't fit everything. I feel the way to the mirror match is just to be, like, know the matchup better and get more slays, and I think the generic cards of the deck are actually better than like cards like Withering Wail and Vengeance. So I don't run like those for the mirror match, because I think I actually win better. Because if you're good at playing on Vengeance and playing on Withering Wail, they're actually very dead, and I think that you win better with like Rite of Calling and stuff like that. But let's get into the cards you can run in this deck. There's some big ones. This card's okay to refuel. Try it a good bit. Okay, this is one of the biggest ones, Black Spear. I run this card a lot. This is probably the next card I put in the deck. If I die this round, deal 4 to the unit. Very good removal, can kill level up Jinx, kill Ashe, kill all kinds of threats. It's just a really good card. I just feel other card is more important. You can cut Rite of Negation, like in the tournament, if you're banning Channel Lysandra, you can cut Rite of Negation for Black Spear, because this card's good versus like in general versus a lot of things, but it's particularly good against Channel Lysandra. But yeah, Black Spear's really good. You can edit this however you want. Like the cards I wouldn't. The thing is, I wouldn't cut a lot of cards. I think Rite of Calling is insane. I think Butcher's insane. Like Battle Feast, I would definitely not cut. So like you can go to like 1 Rite of Negation, like 1 Rite of Negation, 1 Atrocity or something, or 2 Atrocity, 1 Negation, and add 2 Black Spear is fine. This is probably what I would do if you want to add any other card to the deck. So Black Spear, insanely strong. This is a huge consideration to the deck. Like I recommend this card a lot. It's amazing. The other biggest card to recommend for this deck is... I can't pass it, yeah. Is Bakai Sand Spinner. Grant enemy -1/-0 and vulnerable. What I found was this card's generically good against the field. It's really good that you can put this on like Eye of the Dragons versus Lee Sin versus Sandra. You can put it on that and get rid of it. This permanent -1/-0 and vulnerable, easy slay triggers, decent health versus SI Freyord. I just felt in the mirror match, every other card was so important, and this card was great. Like, it's good in the mirror because this card's just a generically good card against like everything. Like, I like it on ladder a lot because in ladder you verse all kinds of different stuff, and this card's just generically good, so you don't really find yourself in a matchup where it's dead. You always will find a way to use this card for the most part. So I like it on ladder versus an unknown field, but I just felt like in the mirror match there are more important cards. Like, all these cards in the mirror match are so insane, and this card's just like really good in the mirror, but not. These are like core, like they're all amazing in the mirror match. So I don't know. I felt very comfy. This was kind of a crush for me when I was learning the deck. It was like, oh, a generic good card gets good against everything. That's good. Once I started to like really feel like I had a good understanding, like a mastery of Nasus Thresh, the less I felt like I need Bakai Sandspin, the more I felt these cards were more powerful and impactful to like the game state I was in. And if I play them correctly, they're much more potent and give me more value than a Bakai Sandspinner. But this is the next card I would put in the deck, I guess. Good versus Maokai and stuff, Super Steed. Those are the big ones. I guess the other ones would be like you can meet at the box. Decent versus the mirror, decent versus like, you know, just remove versus aggro, like Swarmy decks like Tia Fizz. Whale, again, also good versus aggro, good in the mirror, good versus stuff like Tia Fizz. If they don't suit up, and if they go like wide bunch of purple fishes. Vengeance is good versus the mirror, get rid of Nasus's. But I would just keep it the way it is. Alright, let's get into some games. Alright, we are up against Teemo Ezreal. I actually lost this matchup a decent amount of times. Sometimes when I get this stuff going and I have all the freezes, it's actually hard to push through. What I'm going to do is turn 2, I have Fading Icon plus Butcher. This is one of the openings that was talking about. I'm going to hold this for Teemo, just to play it safe. I feel if I play a pretty normal game plan here, I'll be able to win. So all I need to do is just have an answer for like Teemo, and we'll be good to go. Alright, generically good hand. They don't Pulling Strike, so not Noxus. The Thresh can have a big health to be hard to remove for them. That's a great card to use for Vile Feast. I'm actually going to pass here because I would like to Vile Feast this card. I don't want to get the damage output right now with the 3 because this is frozen, and then he would just trade this for Butcher, where this is one of the targets I like to Vile Feast. Yes, I like to Vile Feast Teemo more, but he doesn't have Teemo, so I'd rather not wait, considering I have such an aggressive hand. I can really push some huge damage. Interesting. Alright, so what we can actually do here is just play this, and then next turn we play Caretaker to hook both of these. If he decides to attack, we can just Vile Feast. Alright, I'm going to Vile Feast this, and then block here. This way, we don't take the damage, because taking damage is really bad versus like PopCap deck. We get the block, and then we have 4 units, so I can just tribute the prey here for Caretaker and push for huge damage. And we have 2 praise, so it's fine. We still have the tribute fodder. He could Troll Chain Elixir Vine here to keep it alive, but it's really not a big deal. Like, I don't mind this at all. Okay, fair enough. So he wants to put the damage. I get that. I really do versus this matchup. That's fine. But now these are built out of Caretaker. The best card he could have here is Static Shock. Static Shock is really good if he uses it right now, because if he doesn't use it right now, I can put them out of the way first, and then they get a bunch of damage. You just Static Shock now. He's tapped out. We can tap with everything. He'll block these. He'll still take 3 and he'll get a bunch of Slay triggers. But if he doesn't have Static Shock, he's just super screwed. Okay, so he doesn't have Static Shock, it seems. Alright, we're gonna go for the higher health units here. We could Butcher, but I feel like if I Butcher, I'm allowing him to play another blocker. So I'm just gonna attack here straight up. I don't need to play it too fast, considering we're in a great spot. Flash freeze. Okay, pretty good counterplay from our opponent. Oh, okay. Alright, pretty good counterplay from our opponent. Him being so reckless with his cards makes me think he has Hexcore Foundry. Like, at first glance, I'd be like, okay, well, I have more cards than him. He's running out of steam. But that might be the case here, because if he does have the Hexcore Foundry, he's going to refuel, and it won't really matter if I'm up a card or 2. Teemo. Well, we definitely want to Vile Feast. As much as I want to play Thresh, just so we can play it next turn. I'm going to keep it simple here. Play Fading Icon, and then Vile Feast. And then we also have mana for Glimpse and Rite of Calling. Let's see if he's another Troll Chain Elixir Vine. Alright, so since he has Shoal Chant here, I'm actually going to use Glimpse now. I do want to draw cards since I'm low on Steam, but this is going to put Puff Caps in our deck. So you want to draw before the Puff Caps go in our deck, or else we take a chance at taking more damage than we do. Okay, another Thresh. See, Leech isn't too great in this matchup, because with the Puff Caps going, then we're going to take damage by drawing the Puff Caps. So we want to try and get our fuel, like, early. We could Rite of Calling here to try and get Nasus, but I guess we'll wait. I just don't want to put more Puff Caps. If he plays, like, Chumpwump, then I play so he can chain put Puff Caps in our deck, but I guess it's worth it to just play Thresh first. So we'll wait a second. That's why we didn't do it. Just to get the 1 out of 6 for Thresh. Oh, he just gave up. Yeah, this is like too hard to beat. Our Nasus is pretty stacked. I don't think my deck. This is just how good this deck is. Like it just feels better than everything. Like genuinely, it feels better than everything. Like it was very hard for him to win. I don't think he could have won there. All right, we're playing against Diana, Zoe. It's usually Invoke deck. Usually it's 38 target cards and 2 Atrocity for a finisher with the big Celestials. This deck runs a lot of Hush. It runs 3 Hush and sometimes Melee Affliction, which is like extra copies of Hush essentially. Very good. Similar hand to the game we just played. We're gonna keep, I guess, like a very similar hand. Like usually you want 1, 2, 3, like 1, 2, 3 Caretaker, but this is good for Zoe. Drawing Jukester is cool here for the Pusher. We can push for huge damage output. He doesn't have Lunaria Dustbringer. He doesn't really have good blockers. Fine. All right, so if he doesn't get the Serpent here, we can attack with Butcher without him being able to block it, which is pretty good. This card's Spell Thief. That's a pretty good discard, considering it might not be as good as matchup, especially in the early game while I haven't played any spells yet. Alright. I'm definitely down to trade these two. This trade's going to happen no matter what. And then we'll push here. If I only attack with this, he gets blocked. And we'll keep that. He'll still be alive if he's alive, but he gives him options. Okay, this is good versus the Serpent. Belting it has that. We go versus the Charger. Oh god. This Diana? Okay. Interesting. Alright. There is some consideration to pass here, but in case I draw a Caretaker, I'd definitely be down to just hook this away and push for huge damage. Also leaving it with 1 health for Vitality, so hope you draw a Caretaker here. I'm so good at this game. Alright, so play Caretaker here. This is why I played the Icon, instead of like just holding it off. Now we're pushing huge damage output. Like, this is usually where we start to just win. Like, I'm not gonna say you should concede, but I'm just trying to show you how strong Caretaker is. Like, you guys, this isn't even like max value Caretaker. It's just a decent Caretaker. We're pushing for 10 damage, placed at 1 health. We're now up on board, up on field. We have actually 1 more card than 2. Very, very good stuff. He's a Valkyrie screen. So this is just showing how cracked Caretaker is. I did kind of want to wait till I play this to play the Vile Feast, but I don't think there's a reason to take extra damage. I don't have to. It'll make it easier to kill with the elusives. This is a variant I've been seeing going around a lot recently. That's a good guy in touch. I was thinking if he had Pale, then it's fine if he Pale because he won't draw a card, but that was a great guy to play him. They've been running this like as a standard lately, like the Shadestalkers. I even think they run Doom Beast now. All right, so now we're in Thresh turns. This is where it starts to really go down. It's very hard to kill Thresh. We have a huge board. Last time we saw like I concede right when I did this. Okay, this could be a comment or something to deal with this, but very good. We have some decisions to make though. If I attack with this, and he got the 5/5 Challenger, he can kill it. If he got Meteor Shower, I could still hook this right here, keep it at 5 health, and Meteor Shower can't kill this. If he has Kame, he can banish it anyway. So I think that our best bet here. I guess I'll attack with everything actually. Just level Thresh. I think our best bet here is he either got Comet, Golden Sisters, or Meteor Shower, and keeping it at 5 health is good against all those, because Comet will banish it anyway, so I'm just going to kill before it dies. Out of range of Meteor Shower and stuff like that. Alright, so attacking like this is very awkward, because he has to choose like between damage or not damage. Like right now, by blocking this, he keeps us alive, but we're getting some open damage in, as well as the character getting bigger every block, so very good. This is 5 out of 6, right? Or it's 4, okay. If it was 5 out of 6, we could have Vile Feaster on unit. to level it up. If you had the 5/5 challenger. Now we can still do that. We can. Interesting. We can spear leech this, or we can spear it on this, and then Vile Feast our own unit, or one of his units if it dies, and then get a level Thresh. I think he has Meteor Shower. Meteor Shower is really good in this matchup. He probably thought what was going to happen is also take Thresh, hook one of these, put this at 4, and then he killed this and this with Meteor Shower. But I played around Meteor Shower by keeping it at 5 health instead of the 4 damage Meteor Shower deals, which allows me to play around it quite well right now. Alright. If this resolves, and he doesn't have like the Tail Cascader, Guiding Touch, whatever, we are going to level Thresh on command right now. I think it's worth it. Okay. I think it was worth it to go for this, because I do want to get rid of these elusives. Like, I don't know. Maybe this was a misplay and I should just play it safe. And went for the kill here. We'll withdraw Rite of Calling. I actually can't get the Doomkeeper off either. Okay. So we're still able to get the Spear Leech off next turn. This could have been considered a misplay though. I actually could have just Vile Feasted my own Spider, just to ensure I got this level up. That's what we really need right now. Alright, but regardless, we do have the Thresh level up now, and he has a lot he needs to deal with. I also maybe should have glimpsed here in case I drew... Okay, so maybe I misplayed again. Maybe I should have glimpsed here to level Thresh, because then I could have drawn Nasus and played Nasus and added a huge threat for him. So there's a lot of different ways I could have played this, but let's continue. Alright. I mean, I guess so. Alright, well, he's forced to block these or he dies. We get Nasus here. It's a 9/9 if you get to a 10/10 to level up. It goes beyond. We have the Reaper getting bigger. We can also glimpse our own Thresh to dodge the lifesteal here. He's at 1, so I guess we'll just do that. Very good. He's at -2. Alright. We have now a level Nasus. Well, A, it's just lethal through Bakari Reaper. Showing you how good Bakari Reaper is, right? What's Bakari Reaper going to? 10-2. A 10-2 Fearsome 1-drop. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
We grow wiser with each victory.
Alright, that's my Nasus Thresh deck. I think that this deck's insanely powerful. It's hitting a new Shadow card next expansion, so if they don't like touch it too much, like in there for or buff whatever may happen, then it probably will still be one of the best decks in the game. It's the highest player in the game right now. I think it's also the highest win rate in the game across all ranks. Very powerful, from 0 to 1,000 LP with it. I went from 0 LP to not even a single one to rank 3 North America in 3 days with this deck. Very strong. Yeah, I think you guys can see how passionate, or just guys how highly I think of this deck. It's really, really good. I can't tell you how good it is. You should try it for yourself. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this deck, how it worked for you. There's tons of ways to play it, but I definitely think if you want to rank up, this is the deck. So I hope this video helped you out, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.